Good morning, students. Today we shall study Lesson 33, which is a passage that is Rusty makes new friends. So, the passage is about two main characters, that is Ranbir and Rusty. How Rusty makes new friends, that we will study in this passage. So, let's read. And truly, that day there was an outbreak of spring. Outbreak means a suddenly occurrence of something. So, that means on that day there was suddenly occurrence of spring. The sun came up and the bazaar woke up. The walls of the houses were suddenly patched with splashes of color, and just as suddenly the trees seemed to have burst into flower. For in the forest there were armies of rhododendrons, and by the river the poinsettias danced. The cherry and the plum were in blossom. The young grass held both dew and sun and made an emerald of every dewdrop. So, in this chapter, in this passage, it is being told that spring was celebrated, and during the spring season, we celebrate the festival of colors. That means we celebrate Holi. So, indirectly, in this passage, the celebration of Holi is being shown. So, first of all, it is being told about the environment, that the sun came up and the bazaar woke up, the people woke up, the walls of the houses were completely painted with the stain of colors because of the colors, and suddenly what happened, the flowers were blooming on the trees, because during the spring season the flowers bloom on trees. And in the forest there were armies of rhododendrons. Rhododendrons is a kind of a flower. So there were armies of that kind of a flower, and by the river the poinsettias danced. Poinsettias is also a kind of tree, and this kind of tree was dancing by the river. The cherry and the plum were in blossom, means they were completely, thriving at that time. The young grass were holding both dew and sun, and it was looking like an emerald of every dewdrop. Dewdrop was looking like emerald. Emerald is a kind of a stone that is called panna in Hindi. So what happened after that? Ranbir and Rusty moved around the hill, keeping within the edges of the jungle until they came to the clock tower. So they went to a particular place that is called clock tower in this passage. Who? Ranbir and Rusty. From the hill they moved to jungle, and through the jungle they went to the clock tower. So what happened at the clock tower? Let's see. At the clock tower, spring had really been declared open. Clouds of colored dust rose in the air and spread, and jets of water, green and orange and purple, burst out everywhere. So when they went at the clock tower, so spring had really been declared open, means they all were celebrating the festival of Holi. There can be seen the dust of colored clouds in the air, because the colors were rising in the air, and the jets of water. Jets can be called a kind of pitchkari, and the jets of different colors of water can be seen there. What happened next? Let's see. Children formed groups. They were armed mainly with bicycle pumps, or pumps fashioned from bamboo stems, from which was squirted liquid color. The children paraded the main road, chanting shrilly and clapping their hands. The men and women preferred the colored dust to the water. They too sang, but their chanting held a significance. Their hands and fingers drummed the rhythms of spring. They were the same rhythms, the same songs that had belonged to this day every year of their lives. So what happened? The children first of all formed the groups, and they were armed mainly with the bicycle pumps, which is a kind of pitchkari, or the pumps made from the bamboo stems, and they were sprinkling liquid colors with the kind of pumps. The children paraded. Paraded means procession. They have organized a kind of procession on the main road, and they were chanting shrilly. Shrilly means loudly, and they were clapping their hands. The men and women also joined them, and the men and women preferred dry colors rather than the watercolors. They all were singing too. They were chanting, but their song had a significance, had an importance. Their hands and fingers drummed. They were making a kind of sound with the rhythm, and It was the same rhythm which they have every year on the festival of Holi. Ranbir was met by some friends and greeted with great amusement. A bicycle pump was directed at Rusty and a jet of sooty black water squirted onto his face. So what happened? Ranbir met some friends and greeted with great amusement. Amusement means, you can say, Anand, a kind of joy. And a bicycle pump was directed at Rusty. Rusty was also another character, and a jet of sooty black water squirted on his face, and from the bicycle pump, from the bicycle pitchkari, a kind of blackish water was sprinkled on the face of Rusty. Blinded for a moment, Rusty blundered about in great confusion. A horde of children bore down on him and he was subjected to a pumping from all sides. So what happened? For a moment, when they all have sprinkled colors on the face of Rusty, he became blind for a moment, and he had done a great mistake in that time. A great kind of mistake which has been done, that is called blunder. A horde of children bore down means pressed down on him, and he was the subject at that time. Everyone was pumping, everyone was sprinkling colors on him from all sides. His shirt and pajamas, drenched through, stuck to his skin. Then someone gripped the end of his shirt and tugged at it until it tore and came away. Dust was thrown on the boy, on his face and body, roughly and with full force, and his tender underexposed skin smarted beneath the attack. And what happened at that time? His clothes were completely drenched. Drenched means bhige hue, and they were stuck on his skin. And then what happened? Someone has gripped his shirt, and it was too strong. The grip was too strong that his shirt was teared at that time, and dust was there on Rusty's face, and they were putting colors on his face very roughly at that time. Then his eyes cleared, he blinked and looked widely around at the group of boys and girls who cheered and danced in front of him. When he was able to see, when his eyes were cleared at that time, then what Rusty has seen, that a group of boys was there in front of him, and they were dancing, they were cheering. His body was running mostly with sooty black color streaked with red, and on his body there was blackish color with a little red, and his mouth seemed full of it too, and on his face also this kind of color was there. He began to spit. So because of the anger, what he done, he began to spit. Then one by one Ranbir's friends approached Rusty. Then what happened after that? Ranbir's friend came to him and they started talking to Rusty. Gently they rubbed colored dust on the boy's cheeks and embraced him. Embraced means him, hugged him means. They were like so many flaming diamonds that Rusty could not distinguish one from the another, but this gentle greeting, coming so soon after the stormy bicycle pump attack, bewildered Rusty even more. So when they approached Rusty, when Ranbir's friends approached Rusty, they came to him and gently they put colors on the boy's cheeks and they hugged him, and they were looking like diamonds because colors were there on their faces, and Rusty was not able to differentiate one from the other. But the greetings, the hug was so gentle after the stormy bicycle pump attack, because first of all they have attacked Rusty with the colors, and then they gently put colors on his face, and it made Rusty bewildered, means surprised. Ranbir said, now you are one of us, come. And Rusty went with him and the others. And at that time Ranbir said, you are also one of us, and Rusty went with him and with the others, and that means Rusty made them his friends. Now let's see the exercises of this passage. First one is arrange the following sentences in the correct order of the events. So you have to put numbers like I have put here. First one is Ranbir and Rusty moved around the hill, keeping within the edge of the jungle until they came to the clock tower. So first of all they both went to the clock tower. Second one is a bicycle pump was directed at Rusty and a jet of sooty black water squirted onto his face. Then what happened? A bicycle pitchkari was directed at Rusty and a blackish color was sprinkled on his face. Third one, what happened next? A horde of children bore down on him and he was subjected to a pumping from all sides. A group of children pressed him down and he was the subject at that time that everyone was sprinkling color on him only. What happened next? Let's see. Fourth one, dust was thrown on the boy, on his face and body roughly and with full force. Everyone was putting colors on Rusty with full force. Now let's see the fifth one. Gently they rubbed colored dust on the boy's cheeks and embraced him. After that, what happened? The boys gently rubbed colors on Rusty's face and hugged him. And in the last, Ranbir said, "Now you are one of us. Come." And Rusty went with him and the others. In the last, they all became friends. So you have to put numbers like the given. That is 4, 2, 6, 3, 5, 1. Now, question answers I have already explained you through a different video. Let's see exercise C, that is write the meanings of the following words. You may use a dictionary if necessary, then make sentences of your own with them. So first of all, what is given here? That is outbreak. It means a sudden occurrence of something. Second one is blossom, that means to produce flowers. Third one is shrilly, that means loudly or forcefully. Fourth one is drummed, that means to hit a surface regularly to make a kind of sound, to make a sound. Fifth one is blundered, to make a stupid, careless mistake. Sixth one is flaming, that means burning fiercely. Now let's see exercise D, that is fill in the blanks with the correct forms of the given verbs. Verbs are given in the bracket. First one is spring dash, the season of flowers and festivals. So B is given, that means we have to fill is. Spring is the season of flowers and festivals. Second is it is nice to see how Rusty and Ranbir dash good friends in such a short time. In such a short time, that means it is telling about the past. So that's why we have to use second form of become, that is became. It is nice to see how Rusty and Ranbir became good friends in such a short time. Third one is last time everyone dashed the festival with great fervor. So here celebrate is given and we are talking about the last time, that means it is past. We will use the second form of verb. It will be last week everyone celebrated the festival with great fervor. Fourth one is yesterday the children dashed with colors for hours before their parents took them home. And again it is about yesterday, that means past. We will use the second form of verb. So that's why we have used played here. Yesterday the children played with colors for hours before their parents took them home. Fifth one is by next year Rusty dash Holy 3 years in a row. So that is telling about future. By next year, so we will use will celebrate. By next year, Rusty will celebrate Holy 3 years in a row. Now let's see exercise E, that is join these sentences without using but or and. So first one is written, the children formed groups, the children paraded the main road. We have to use it by using the and conjunction. So it will be the children formed groups and paraded the main road. Second one is Ranbir was met by some friends. They greeted him with great amusement. These sentences are also joined by and. So let's see. Ranbir was met by some friends and was greeted with great amusement. Third one is they rubbed colored dust on the boy's cheek. They embraced him. And these sentences are also being joined here by using and. So it will be they rubbed colored dust on the boy's cheeks and embraced him. Embraced him means hugged him. Fourth one is someone gripped the end of his shirt and tugged at it. It tore and came away. These sentences are being joined here by using the conjunction but. So it will be someone gripped the end of his shirt and tugged at it, but it tore and came away. Last one is a horde of children bore down on him. He was subjected to a pumping from all sides. These sentences are also being joined here by using and. So it will be a horde of children bore down on him and he was subjected to a pumping from all sides. And these are the exercises related to this passage. I hope everything is clear to all of you. Thank you everyone.